Hey YouTube, this is Brandon here. We're going to be doing a quick little video review of the Sansibar #1 from traditionalfilipinoweapons.com. I just bought this particular blade as a factory second sale, so it was $125 rather than their normal $230 price for it, so I kind of jumped at it. The reason it was a second sale, according to the description, was that it hadn't been cleaned off, and I'll explain that in a moment. So we'll get right into it. It's made of the standard blend of material, which is 5160 and D2 tool steel. I've had another blade with that mixture for about a year. It holds a good edge and it hasn't really rusted with just minor care, and it's held up well, so no complaints so far. This particular model comes with a kind of a lighter colored sheath. It's made out of some type of wood that's been cut in half and sandwiched together, and then it's wrapped with looks like rattan type plant fiber. As you can see, it's been resined or glued together, and it's kind of a two-tone. They're not quite matched, but I don't mind that. One thing I noted about this sheath compared to the other sort of theirs I have with a sheath is that this one is kind of cool. It has some finger grooves that have been cut into the sheath, and also the clip feature on this one, which is just a standard steel kind of belt loop clip with a locking mechanism. This lock is much better than their last blade I had, which is a lot looser. So anyway, it's kind of cool. I kind of like these finger guards. You know, if you wanted to do some two-weapon, maybe some pairing, this would be good for that. But anyway, that's it for the sheath. Okay, so here's the blade in all its glory. I'm going to give you a couple measurements I took of it. The total length of this blade is 28.25 inches. The total length, including the hilt, is 28.25 inches. The blade length is 20.75 inches as measured by me. The balance point is about 4.25 inches out onto the blade, and the width, pretty much the entire length of the blade, is about 3 centimeters until the very end. The thickness of the spine is about 5 millimeters or so. Okay, can't weigh it. I don't have a scale that can do this. So anyway, I use gloves to handle it. That way I don't have to clean it up after I'm done. And I do that with most of the swords I have. One thing to note is that when I got this sword, because it was a second, it came wrapped in resin and saran wrap, and I had to clean it off, and it left, I don't know if you can see, there's like a little tiny residue on the blade still. I've tried polishing it out and most of it's come off, so I don't know if that'll come out with time or not, but just something to be aware of if you're getting one of their seconds. That's something to consider. Alright, getting into the blade, we'll kind of go bottom to top. So in the hilt, we have the pommel and the grip. The pommel and the grip are made of kind of, I don't know if it's hardwood or not, but I like the stain on it. They're one solid piece. It hasn't been cut or glued or fused or anything like that. One thing I'll note, they have kind of like an animal head or a dragon head. I don't know what that's supposed to do. It provides a good grip. One thing I'll note on this one is that this grip that they've cut in the serrations are much more grippy than on their Pinute sword, which was rather smooth. This one actually has really good grip, even without gloves, so I like that. Moving on up, we have kind of looks like a brass pin that's been pushed through and then peened to kind of hold the tang in place. They say on the website that this is a full tang blade, or most of their blades are full tang blades. I took a magnet to kind of test that because I can't really test it any other way, and the magnet, the last I could feel any magnetism was about here. So the tang may continue, but it's probably just like a very narrow piece of metal that continues, but the main part that I could feel, the magnet was on about here. Okay, going on up to the guard here, it's kind of their standard modified disc guard, similar to the other sort of theirs I have. I think it's made of steel. It has kind of one quillon that protrudes in the front, which will protect your hand in the event that you make contact and someone slides down, but that's about all the protection it's going to give you, but I like it. It's minimalist. It's kind of cool. Onto the blade itself, it's kind of got a nice recurve shape to it. I don't know if you can see that. It's relatively thin. It has a nice distal taper going all the way down, and then it has a false edge that goes for about the last 10 inches of the blade or so, which is sharpened. It has about, let's say 2 inches of finger choil on the front here, and then the ricasso goes up about the same distance before the cutting of the grind starts here. The grind, both on the primary edge and on the false edge, it's a very, very subtle hollow grind, and then the actual edge grind itself is a convex grind on both sides. The tip is very thin, as you can see right there. It doesn't have a swedge in it like the Penude did, which makes this one very, very light in the hand. It feels really good for doing sword work with. Again, this is a combat blade as opposed to the Penude, which is a multi-purpose kind of tool blade. So because of that, it's a lot thinner, and I don't know if you can see this, I'm going to kind of flex it for you. So you can see the blade flexes a little bit, but it's really nice. I like how it feels. Let me see. One more thing to note about the second status of this blade is that right here on the spine, where the grinds start for both the primary and false edge, you can see for you guys the bottom one is slightly asymmetrical to the top. The grind in starts just a little bit earlier, so just something to consider if you're a stickler for everything being symmetrical. I would recommend probably buying one of their new blades as opposed to a second sale. That way you can just return it. But for my purposes, I couldn't care less about that. Okay, what do I think of it? It's awesome. For $125, you really can't go wrong. It's very light in the hand. It feels really good, particularly in reverse grip. Because of the recurve in it, it just, for backhand work, it feels really nice. For forehand work, same thing. It's so much lighter than the Penude I had that it just wants to move. It wants to stay small circle in front of you, and I mean, I can maneuver it so much quicker than I could the Penude. So yeah, I think it's a good sword. For $125, I couldn't beat it, but if you want one that's more of a collector's item, I'd recommend getting the full price variant so you can return it if it has like some asymmetry or anything like that. So anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say about it. It's a nice blade. Thanks.